Hello everyone, it's Lauren J. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I like to do get ready with me style videos using products that are new to me, or just need a little bit more love in my collection. Today I'm going to be using products that need more love in my collection, and I'm going to be wrapping up my fall series of cozy fall inspired looks with a duochrome look for the holidays. So if you're interested in seeing what I come up with, please keep watching. I am wrapping up my fall series of cozy looks with a look that I am probably going to be wearing for the upcoming holiday. I think this will be posted just before that happens, and then we will be in full swing into winter. It has already snowed here, so we have already kind of transitioned, and the leaves are still hanging on a little bit, but mostly they've fallen with the freeze and the snow. So I think I am ready to move on. And I wanted to use all products that are not new in my collection because I did want to pull out this beautiful palette right here. This is a beautiful fall palette. This is the Viseart Le Marais. It has the beautiful packaging here, and I bought this, I think it was either last year or the year before. And this is the color story. Absolutely inspiring for fall. And I woke up wanting a little bit of duochrome action on my eyes, and so when I think duochrome, I go to my Visearts. So this is what we're going to do today. As per usual, skincare, sunscreen. Eyes are primed with the Juvia's Place Eye Prep Eye Prime Primer, and the brows are done with the Chanel Stylo Sourcils Haute Precision. So let's get into the eye look. I am going to use 3 colors from this palette. Now this one, I usually take these out and rearrange all of my Viseart shades. This one I have not done because it is one of the more recent ones that I have picked up, but I am going to be focusing on 3 shades, and it was really hard when I opened this palette back up to narrow it down. I knew I wanted immediately to go into this duochrome right here. It is a purple to gray to sort of pink duochrome, and it's just stunning, and that is what I want on my lids. But as I was looking more and more at this palette, I was like, oh, I love that color, I love that color, I love that color, I love just all of these colors. And I love all the looks that I've done this fall, but I'm a little bit sad that I just rediscovered this palette and all its colors because it's just so yummy for a cozy fall look. So I'm actually going to start with this orange matte shade right here, and I'm gonna put that on the outer part of the lid with a brush. And it's this beautiful matte orange, perfect fall leaf color. Perfect pumpkin color. Just super beautiful. And it's like the perfect velvety matte. This is a really nice matte formula. The Viseart mattes do not swatch really well, but when you put them on the eye, they are really impactful. And I believe they just released a new Étendu for the holidays. I don't think I'm going to pick that up. I have not picked up some Viseart shadows in a really long time just because the color stories have become a bit repetitive. I think the last really unique one I picked up was the Water Lotus with those turquoise shades, but there's been nothing that's really called to me. And I have so many Viseart palettes that I have so many mattes, so many neutrals, so many basic, if you can call a duochrome basic. I have those, and beautiful shimmers, and I just haven't needed anything new from them. I'm always tempted by their beautiful packaging, but at the end of the day, I've been focusing more on Chanel and Guerlain with my eyeshadows. And I haven't branched out much this year in terms of eyeshadow, and there's a few reasons for that. One is just cost. I can't buy every luxury shadow palette, quad, whatever on the market. Two is just the amount of makeup I already have. I love the packaging, I love the service and the feel of luxury packaging, but thinking sometimes of putting another quad on my vanity, which is already stuffed full, just makes me feel a little queasy sometimes. I don't want to hoard makeup. So that means I haven't branched out into other formulas, sort of like YSL has been very tempting. I have really been looking at the new Byredo palette. I just know that I have so much and there's really sort of no point to me having them when I can get those types of looks with what I already have. And look, I already spend a lot of money on Chanel and Guerlain, so restrict is a relative term there, but I have not really branched out into a lot of other brands. I used to do a lot of indie brands, a lot of affordable brands, and I still have those in my collection. I still use them. I just don't concentrate my purchasing on them right now. When I go back to a palette like this, I just can't wait to see what new interesting color story they might come out with. It's just that they haven't done that in the recent year or so that I've been focusing on Chanel. So next I am going to go into this matte nutmeg color right here. I have a lot of beautiful options in this palette. I have this one, this more reddish brown one, and this more ochre colored one. I think they'd all look really beautiful, but I think I'm just going to go for a little bit of a more neutral brown and just pop a little bit in the crease and on the outer V. And that warms it up and defines it just a little bit, what's on the lid. And I'm using a very tapered pencil brush, which is not ideal for doing a crease color, but I'm trying to sort of limit the area and not let it go too out of hand in my crease, because I'm not looking for a huge big look, just something a little bit more concentrated. So this is what I decided to go with. And yes, I did turn my heat on. Couldn't go into November without turning the heat on, so that will be kicking in every once in a while. But that is just a really beautiful fallen leaves type of look on its own. I think you could do the entire lid with that orange color and just this matte in the crease, and I think that'd be really, really beautiful with a nice brown liner, just like an acorn or again a fallen leaves look. But as I said, I've been craving duochromes, so I'm going to kick it up with this duochrome right here. Again, this is like a pinky purpley with a bit of silver, and it's just really, really stunningly beautiful. And that is going to go on the inner part of the eye today, just to brighten up and add some contrast and a little bit of mystery to the look. And I think you can see how that stands out and makes the look a little bit more special, a little bit more unusual. But I do like that sort of matte leaf look going into a more frosty style of look. It's just like a transition from fall to winter, so I think it's really, really appropriate. I didn't mean to be that literal in this look, but that just kind of strikes me right now as, oh yeah, it's fall going into winter, getting ready for more sparkly, frosty looks, a bit more color. And so I really like that. And I'm going to have to think of more ways to use this in December. It's just so beautiful. We're going to line the eyes with the Chanel Stylo Yeux in Gris Graphite. This is the silvery, obviously graphite color. And I think it's going to look really nice with all of these colors together, just to define the lash line. And I think that just gives the eyes some definition and a little patina. It's a nice way to emphasize that we're going from sort of spooky season to enchanted season. I'm going to go in to do my base with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. That's upside down. That's correct, I think. Then on top of that, I'm going to go into the Chanel Baume Essentiel in Solar Glow. This was from the summer collection, and I really love the coppery tones, so I keep using it for fall. So after working in the Baume Essentiel, I'm going to go into the Douceur de Equinox. This was from the Chanel Fall collection last year. This is the Blush Harmony in Beige et Corail. So it is the lighter, more peachy one. And it does still have the embossed CC with the beautiful fall leaf embossing on it. So I'm just going to go in and grab some of that peach color and put that over the top on the cheeks, and then just let the Solar Glow be up here, and then have a little bit of the Beige et Corail be underneath. So just a nice little pumpkin-y flush. Again, one of those products that I don't use enough, but I love to pull out, and when I do use it, it reminds me of how much I love it. And then of course, to just set everything and tone it down a little bit, my Veil Translucent Setting Powder. And once the powder is down, I'm going to go in with the wonderful Amytheste mascara from the Noir Allure Chanel collection. So this is sort of a last gasp for this fall collection mascara, because it is a beautiful purple, which I think is going to go really beautifully with the duochrome. But again, it just looks like a deep mascara on the eyes. Gives you a little sense of enchantment. It really finishes off the look in an interesting way. So to finish off the look, I'm going to go into the Terre d'Etoile. This was from the Le Comet collection from 2022 or late 2021, but it's one of my favorites. I bought this in Las Vegas. And it's just such a comfort color to me, because even though I love the color itself, it is a memory of a trip I took and a fun time that I had, an experience that I had. And that a lot of the pieces that I have in my Chanel collection, not every piece, but most of my shoes and any of the few handbags that I have, and scarves and things like that, accessories, I have usually had to travel to go get those. And it reminds me of a time and a place and an experience. And sometimes I pick up makeup, sometimes I pick up another more expensive piece. But Chanel is a brand that reminds me of when I travel and when I have an adventure. So I have a lot of good associations with a lot of my pieces in my collection. And to finish off the look, I'm going to go into one of my favorites. This is Beige from the Les Exclusives. This is actually from the very first release. This is years and years old. It's still good, but it is, I think this was $150 something when I first picked it up at, I think it was still Marshall Fields in Chicago. And it's a Macy's now and completely different, but I remember buying this. I remember thinking it was expensive, but now these are $300 or $325 for this size. So yeah, but as you can see, she's still hanging on, and it is one of my comfort scents. So this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed seeing me use products that are already in my collection. So this is my wrap up for my fall looks series. We are moving into December and moving into the last month of the year and swiftly into 2025, when a lot of things change for a lot of us. And I have been thinking a lot about how I'm going to move forward and what kind of strength I'm going to need to move forward into 2025. And I've been thinking a lot about Margaret Atwood lately, and not The Handmaid's Tale. That's the obvious choice, but and so relevant. But I have been thinking a lot about a poem that she wrote, which I first heard retold by the podcast Lore, and it has always stuck with me so deeply. And if you want to skip this part, if you want to leave now, go ahead. There's a little bit of probably triggering detail in some of this tale, but it is the inspiration, I suppose, that I have been thinking about lately, about how I want to keep my strength in 2025. And so it is a story about a woman named Mary Webster, who was, I think, a very distant relative of Margaret Atwood, and she lived on the east coast of the United States in the late 1600s. And she was an older woman. She was unlikable. She was grouchy. She was different, and people didn't like her. And because of those reasons, they blamed her for things that happened in the community. They pointed fingers at her. They put her on trial, and they couldn't get rid of her that way. So they did what certain people in society do when they don't get their way, is they came after her physically. And she was beaten. She was taken out on her own land. She was hanged. And then she was buried. And the men that did this to her, because they were men, they left her land that night. They thought that they had taken care of their problem. They found out that that was not true a few days later, because the person that she was accused of bewitching ended up dying, and Mary survived. Mary was hanged. Mary was buried. Mary was left for dead, and she survived. And the poem that Margaret Atwood wrote, I have not read the full thing, but I have always remembered the end of the poem, which is what Lore quoted and what has always stuck with me. And the quote is, "Before, I was not a witch, but now I am one." And I think about that quote all the time. That is how I'm going to take my strength into 2025. I'm going to recognize my own power. I'm going to be inspired by Mary's story. I'm going to survive. I hope that tale wasn't too dark for you, but ultimately I mean it to be a story of, again, survival and of hope and of moving forward and being who you are to your full potential. I hope that's what you got out of that. That is what I'm getting out of it. And thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Any of those would be welcome. All of them would be deeply appreciated. And I will see you in the next one.